I knew nothing about actually making footwear. So it was a real, it was, it was like, yes, sort of. Like when you're like, but you did have a lot of knowledge. It's like, yes, but I knew absolutely zero about making shoes. So,
I love that you laid it out like that because yeah, sometimes you could look at someone like you with your experience and said, well, she's in the fashion industry, she knows how all this stuff works. However, when you go in with an agenda, a specific agenda like you did, like I want to create a footwear line that solves these problems, but I also want it to be eco-friendly. Like I don't want to keep taking from the environment. I don't want to make just another product that's going to either fall apart or deplete the environment in some way. So you really took that extra step of like, I want to be able to create a very comfortable shoe that
Mhm.
also is going to not only not deplete the environment, but help it in a lot of ways. And so tell us about that journey then with figuring out how to use this I guess this ingredient called
Yeah.
bloom, the algae-based one. I mean,
Yeah.
I was fascinated when I read all of that because I'm like, wow, what a great way to take what we initially would look like as maybe a menace in the environment and turn
Mhm.
it into something really beautiful that can create an incredibly comfortable shoe, which by the way, you guys, if you're watching the YouTube video, you really should because I'm holding up my slides right now. Kay,
Oh,
I
yes.
have not had these off my feet since your PR person sent them to me.
Yay! I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Yeah, we worked a lot. We took over a year for us to bring those to market. We worked really hard on them. So thank you so much. And back to your original, like, how did that? I think from the beginning of just really being committed that if I was going to do this, sort of that whole old adage, if you know better, you do better, where I was like, listen, I've got to do this in a way that is going to be, we always say, like to create as less harm as possible to our world and our environment. And that was a heavy lift, for a brand new brand. That make really making a commitment everywhere we could to certifiable like techniques and integration of production, so sort of every step of the way. So with our main line, it's we use all vegan in market luxury materials, so no animals are harmed. In addition to that, we focus on using materials that have already been made, so we help to address the massive waste problem that fashion creates, obviously that, and be part of the solution as opposed to like milling more and you creating more waste. We have a certifiable bio EVA outsole for all of our footwear that's made from sugarcane, and all of our packaging is certifiably recycled and sustainable. No soy, no soy printing. Again, everywhere we can kind of address like creating as little harm, or we like to say really closing the gap. It's like we've really made a commitment to doing so. Not so simple, especially being a new brand where the costs were really quite prohibitive once we started like looking into it. Really being able to create as many certifiable like steps as possible that all of it is traceable, also not very easy to do. And then when it came time to create and expand and make a flip flop or our slipper, we were really determined to use this new technology, as you already identified as bloom technology. And that was, again, like very prohibitive in terms of the minimums that were required at first were really just I've been looking at bloom, to be honest, for years. And it sort of just took so much time to just find the right partner that understood how to use this material as well as be realistic in terms of the minimums that were required to make our slipper. I think initially when I first started looking at bloom, it was like 20,000 units or something that you're just like, that's just not possible, like for me, obviously, like we're a small company, brand new sort of category. But bloom is really fascinating because it is algae. So there is no deforestation, obviously, that occurs like with utilizing algae. No oil in using and harvesting algae as like a byproduct to create products. And the really interesting thing about bloom is that it does create a net positive. So not only is the product itself like very creates very little harmful impact to the environment. But for every certain amount of bloom that is used, the net positive in terms of cleaning, like water, cleaning the air, is really significant. And they just have, reams of data like on this about like if you use these many kilograms of bloom, this is the net positive like back into the environment. So it's a really, really amazing technology that is, hopefully more and more people will start using it or choosing to use it like in various products.
Well, yeah,